of the morning, fight fans. This is Kurt DeVille with Counterpunch Boxing News, and I have some new news concerning Frank Warren, Joseph Parker, Dave Allen. Get this. Frank Warren plans to have Joseph Parker challenge Dave Allen for the next 5 versus 5, Queensberry versus Matchroom. And let me counterpunch. A lot of people have wondered, is this a mismatch? Because this has been brought up before. But now Frank has became involved. And you ask, is this a good move for Joseph Parker? I think it's not even a fact of Parker. I think it's Dave. Is this a good move for Dave Allen? You know what I mean? Because it's like, I think Dave Allen, if he was smart, he would take on someone else, get a title or something from it. Which, don't get me wrong, if he fights and beats Joseph Parker, you know, he becomes next in line for the heavyweight championship of the world. Because he's the mandatory, you know, on the WBO end. And that's just crazy, which one punch could change everything. However, what are the chances of that happening? Mismatch? Yeah. I believe this is, but I think it's better for Joseph because Joseph needs someone to fight because he hasn't fought since the McCauley fight. And I know he needs to do more activity to keep him where he's at, to keep his activity level there, to keep that skill level sharp so he can be ready for whatever. That's what Joseph Parker needs, because one thing we notice about Parker after his loss to Joyce, he started a campaign of fights in 2024, okay, or actually 23, and he was a lot better because of the activity bid. You know, he fought once, though, however, last year, which a lot of people worried, you know, especially Dubois knocking out AJ and how Dubois would handle Parker, or should I say how Parker would handle Dubois with that inactivity bid. However, you know, I still think activity is the key. So if it keeps Joseph Parker active, I say, why the hell not? You know what I mean? The only thing is, I like Dave Allen. I want everyone to succeed in making the right decisions in boxing. You're not going to always win fights, but some fights you should choose and some you should step aside from. Okay? Not necessarily swerves or ducks, because swerves or ducks comes from that fighter that you and everyone wants you to, or everyone wants you to fight that's next in line to fight. Like Zurdo Ramirez versus Jaya Bataya should happen because they're both champions and people want to see it. Well, Dave Allen and Joseph Parker is not necessarily that kind of fight. This is just a fight where you got a guy that's come back to the sport of boxing, taking it more seriously, and then stopped an undefeated fighter like Johnny Fisher. But the thing is, how good was Johnny Fisher really? You know what I mean? And it goes back to all of these upsets, like the Jared Anderson upset. Well, how good was Jared Anderson when McCauley beat him? You see what I mean? Especially breaking down in front of Roy Jones Jr. and admitting that he really wasn't in it physically, or should I say mentally. He just wants it financially. So you got to ask yourself these type of questions. Is Dave Allen beating Johnny Fisher enough to take on Joseph Parker? And I think no. But it is a reward for Dave Allen if he wins. The only thing that I would hope for Dave Allen is to get that payday in there. So if he gets a nice chunk of money fighting Joseph Parker, if it's worth the stretch, I would say go for it, because he has the reward if he wins. But chances are Dave Allen, I just recently seen Dave Allen. Dave Allen, if he's going to fight someone like Joseph Parker, you better be able to move. And with that tub that he has down there that he calls a belly, I don't think that tub is going to help him much in a Joseph Parker fight, especially Joseph Parker being elusive, having good footwork, can get in and out of trouble, can get in and out in attacks. You know, he's not a Johnny Fisher at all. So, you know, that would be a very, very challenging fight for Dave Allen, because Dave Allen is a kind of guy that expects you to trade with him. And I get it. He wants you to trade with him so he can land his big bombs. But if you're not there and his feet's not planted and he's not set to punch, you're going to give him problems, okay? Because he's not the best boxer in the world. You see what I mean? And Joseph Parker's on a totally different level. There are levels to this shite, people. So, Frank wanting to put the 5 versus 5 in, I don't really know if that is the best thing or solution. You guys tell me what you think of a possible Joseph Parker versus Dave Allen fight in the next 5 versus 5, Matchroom versus Queensberry. And of course, please subscribe. And you guys can counterpunch.